Hey guys, my name's Adam, your friendly Sasquatch, and today we're doing a quick review on Olight's new Warrior 3S. This is a very similar light to the Olight Warrior 3. However, they've made some nice improvements over the Warrior 3 model in the Warrior 3S. I also really like this orange and black version. It looks really nice. You know, there's a lot of black flashlights out there on the market. It's kind of nice to have something that's a little bit more colorful and easy to find should you drop it or lose it at the bottom of your bag. So let's go ahead and dive into the size and weight of this light. Then we'll review the features, and then we'll take it outside so you can see what the beam throw and color looks like and just how bright this powerful light actually is. Okay, so diving right into the size and weight of this light, we have a light that is 5.5 inches long, right at 1 inch in diameter, and then 6.2 ounces, which is actually pretty good for a flashlight of this size. I'd consider this a medium EDC light. Comparing it to the Olight Baton 3 Pro Max, you can see it's just a little bit longer, but it is similar in diameter to the Olight Baton. Now if we get the Olight Warrior 3 out, we can see it's a very similar size to the Olight Warrior 3. The only little difference is the Olight Warrior 3 has a more aggressive strike bezel on the front, where the Olight 3S has a strike bezel, but it's not quite as sharp. Let's go ahead and take the Warrior 3 and Baton 3 Pro Max off the table and take a closer look at the features of the Olight Warrior 3S. Let's go ahead and take a look at the features that you get when you order one of these lights. First is the all aluminum aerospace grade material, which I really like. It's a nice durable light. The anodize, as always, is top notch. It doesn't chip or flake very easily. My previous Warrior 3 I've been pretty aggressive with. You can see some marks on the body itself on some of the sharp corners. However, you can see there's no chipping or flaking of the actual anodized finish. It's just mainly scratching and stuff. So that's a sign of a well adhered anodized finish, and that's what you want to see on a light that you've used for a while. The biggest difference between these two lights is going to be the bezel. The bezel on the Warrior 3S is not as aggressive as the bezel on the Warrior 3, which I actually found to be a little too aggressive. After using it for a while, getting it in and out of my pocket, putting it in and out of bags, I found the aggressive bezel here had a tendency to catch on things and kind of snag your hand. Now for a tactical light, that can be okay. However, the less aggressive strike bezel on the Warrior 3S is going to be a welcome change for most people using this light as an everyday carry option versus a tactical user. If you're a tactical user, you may want to opt for the Warrior 3 that has some more aggressive bezel on it. Again, this review's on the Warrior 3S, so let's take the Warrior 3 off the table. The Warrior 3 also has a proximity sensor in the front of the lens, which is actually a welcome change because with the Warrior 3, it did not have a proximity sensor, and I actually burned some holes in a couple of my nice coats with this light. This thing's a serious torch. The Warrior 3S is just as bright as the Warrior 3, but that safety feature is nice. Now some people don't want to have a proximity sensor. They might be using this light to defrost things, start fires, things like that. And the good news is you can turn it off, and I'll show you how to do that in the user interface section of this video. The reversible pocket clip is what you've come to expect from Olight. It's nice and thick, has the ability to be used for tip up or tip down carry, which is always nice, and is removable, so if you don't want the pocket clip, you just pop it off and you can use it in the sheath or whatever other application you might be intending it for. Personally, I like the pocket clip on, so I leave it on. And of course, this light, being a hard use light, just like any of Olight's products, is IPX8 rated, meaning it's submersible down to 1 meter for over 30 minutes. It has been drop tested to over 1.5 meters. Now I think that 1.5 meter drop test being generous, I've dropped this Warrior 3 from over 10 feet before and it's only suffered a few scratches. So they really do mean it when you can review these lights. The side button on the light has the convenient status lights with 4 lights on the right side for battery status, each one representing 25%, and 4 lights on the left showing you which power output mode you're in, ranging from low all the way up to turbo. The back of the light has a tactical tail switch, which has both a half press and full press capability. There are several different ways to set this up, which I'll show you in the user interface portion of this video. On the back of the Olight Warrior 3S, you have a strong magnet, which is used for the magnetic charging, but it's also handy for attaching to metal surfaces. If you want to hang it upside down, like on a car hood or something like that, working in the engine bay, it's going to be no problem. Now, hanging it sideways, you're going to need to find something pretty solid, but it can be done in the right circumstance. As you can see here, it's barely hanging on, but if I get it just right, the Olight Warrior 3S will stick sideways on a thick enough piece of steel. So I wouldn't count on it in every situation. Like the Baton 3 Pro Max, it sticks no problem sideways. Upside down or sideways, the Baton 3 Pro Max will work in most situations. However, the Olight Warrior S, being a little bit longer and heavier light, will hang in most situations upside down, but sideways, it's going to be a little bit pickier, but it can be done. Okay, so those are the features of this particular light. Let's go ahead and review the power outputs and then take it outside so you can see what the beam color looks like and just how bright this light actually is. Starting with the moonlight mode, I'm going to press and hold the side button, and you'll see the moonlight mode comes on into 1 lumens, which will last for 55 days when the light is fully charged. That's pretty remarkable. This will be sufficient for reading maps or checking a glove box. Just simple close-up tasks like that. Obviously 1 lumens isn't very bright and isn't going to reach out very far, but you're going to get some remarkable run times. To move up into the low mode, which is 15 lumens, you just press and hold the side button. And we're now into 15 lumens, which will last for 130 hours, which is about 5 days. That's pretty remarkable. Again, similar to moonlight mode, it's not going to be very useful for reaching out and touching anything, but for checking under the bed, checking a glove box, and just some light reading at night, it will be perfectly sufficient. Pressing and holding to get to the next power level, we're now in the medium mode, which is 200 lumens and will run for 13 hours, which is over half a day. And 200 lumens is very usable. This is perfectly fine for working outside, walking across the parking lot, putting the keys in the front door. I think for most people, 200 lumens will be the mode they use most frequently. And with a 13-hour runtime, you won't need to recharge this light very frequently. Bumping this light up into the high mode, we have 800 lumens, which will run for 166 minutes, or almost 3 hours. That's really good, and 800 lumens is going to be a really bright light for you. You couldn't even buy flashlights a couple years ago that were this bright. And have a 3-hour runtime is truly remarkable. When we take this light outside, I'll show you what this looks like in kind of a wilderness setting, which is truly a challenging setting for most flashlights. So 800 lumens will be great for the woods, camping, or in a rainy situation where the asphalt's wet and really, sucks the light out of the environment. Now to get into turbo mode, you need to double press the side button, which puts the light into the full maximum brightness of 2,300 lumens, which is super bright. And this will run for 2.5 minutes before stepping down to the high mode of 800 lumens for another 160 minutes. The light will get rather warm when using the light in this mode. Now this turbo mode is going to be great for reaching out and touching something, or if something went bump in the night and you need to go out back and really just light up the entire environment to scare off an animal, or really penetrate some fog or something like that. It's only good for 2.5 minutes, but again, 2,300 lumens is rather remarkable. Now there is one more setting. If you triple press the side button, it will go into strobe mode, so 1, 2, 3. And this is great for a defensive situation. It's the full 2,300 lumens, and it's extremely disorienting. I'll show you how this looks outside, but again, the user interface is pretty simple. Just triple click on the side button to get into your strobe mode, double click to get into your turbo, and single click to get into your normal light mode, holding down the side button to cycle through your power output settings. One final note about turbo mode: when you double press the side, you're in turbo mode, and there is a proximity sensor, so if you get too close to something, like my hand for example, it will power down into high mode, which is 800 lumens, to prevent the light from burning something, say a bag or inside a drawer. If you accidentally put the light away or in your pocket, it won't damage whatever is getting too close to the front of the light. I do like the proximity sensor on this particular light because when you remove the object, it goes straight back into turbo mode, and it's very responsive. It doesn't seem to power down and get kind of neutered. It's very responsive. As soon as the object is removed from in front of the light, the turbo mode comes right back on. And it's not overly sensitive. I tested this out in rain and a few other conditions, and it really only turns on if something is truly obstructing the front lens and not just from fog or rain or a window or something like that. So I really am impressed with the proximity sensor in the front of this light, unlike previous iterations of some of Olight's other products. If you don't want to use the proximity sensor, all you have to do is connect the light to the charger while it's plugged into a wall or battery bank, and then lock the light out. So you would press and hold the side button while it's off, and the light would double blink, telling you that the proximity sensor has been locked out. Now I didn't have it plugged into the wall, so it only single blinked. That's the standard lockout mode, meaning when I try to use it, it doesn't turn on. To take the light out of lockout mode, just press and hold the side button, and then the moonlight mode turns on. And this is how you know the light is ready for regular use again. Another feature I really like about the Olight Warrior 3S is the tail cap can be configured to 2 different modes. The standard mode, or the mode that light ships in, is you half press the tail cap for medium mode, which is 200 lumens, and you full press the tail cap for turbo mode, which is the 2,300 lumens. Now if you want to change from the standard mode to tactical mode, you full press the tail cap, then press the side button, and that changes the tail cap to tactical mode, which is half press for turbo full press for strobe. That's a really nice function because some people need a tactical light, and there's an easy way to configure this light for that. So half press is turbo, full press is strobe. But not everyone wants a strobe to be turned on every time they use the light. So by holding down the tail cap, pressing the side button, you now have a half press for medium, full press for turbo, which is super convenient. To charge the Warrior 3S, all you have to do is take the included magnetic charging cable, snap it onto the back, and the light will be charged in about 5.5 hours. The charging cable will glow red when the light is actively charging, and it will glow green when the light is fully charged. When done charging, just pull the cable off and you are good to go. To get to the battery itself, just unscrew the tail cap to get to the 21700 cell, which is 5000 milliamp hours, which is really good. When you first get the light, there will be a plastic covering on the battery, which is for safety reasons while shipping. Make sure to take that off before you first use it. Okay, so that's all the features of this particular light. Let's go ahead and take it outside so you can see the beam color and just how bright this light actually is in a real world setting. Okay, here we are outside with the Warrior 3 Pro S. I'm going to go ahead and start with the moonlight mode, which is 1 lumens. And as you can see, the moonlight mode doesn't light up very much. However, if I put my hand in front of the camera here, you can see my hand. So it's certainly bright enough to do things like reading maps, books, or finding something in the glove box of your car. All right, next mode is 15 lumens, and as you can see, it's just a little bit brighter. You'll be able to see things right in front of you, the ground, if you drop your keys in front of your car at the front door, something like that. But again, it's not going to reach out to that back fence. It's still pretty dark. So going to the next mode, which is medium mode, which is 200 lumens, you can see that this lights up the yard much better. It's reaching out to the back fence there. You can kind of see it. It's not lighting up the whole yard, but if you're just trying to walk across the parking lot or look in the parking garage or something like that, this light will be plenty bright. And with a runtime of 13 hours, this is a great usable option where you won't have to recharge the batteries very frequently. All right, next up we have the high mode. This is 800 lumens, and this is the brightness I would recommend running the light on most frequently. It's going to run for a long time, but is much brighter than the medium mode at 200 lumens. All right, the next mode is 800 lumens, and as you can see, this is much brighter. It reaches out to that back fence and really lights everything up quite well. This is the mode I leave the light on most of the time because it lasts a long time and is quite bright. Now finally we have the turbo mode. So we double press the side button, and as you can see, the turbo mode is much brighter than the high mode. Now it only lasts 2.5 minutes, but if you really need to reach out and touch something, or if it's raining really hard or snowing and you need to figure out what's going on in your backyard, the turbo mode is the way to go. It will get a little bit warm in turbo mode, so after 2.5 minutes it will step down to the high mode for 800 lumens. That's it for the brightness modes. Now if we triple press the side button, here is the strobe mode, and as you can see, it's quite bright. The camera is going to struggle with the strobe mode. And this is tactical mode used primarily for self-defense. If someone were attacking you, or you need to disorient somebody, or if you need to signal to some search and rescue people, try and get their attention, the strobe mode is an excellent option. It's the full 2300 lumens, and again, you access the turbo mode by triple pressing the side button. That concludes the outdoor testing. We'll go ahead and head back inside. All right, we're back inside from the testing, and there you have it, my quick and dirty review of the Olight Warrior 3. And I think this is an excellent light. It's a nice size, providing you an extremely capable light with 2,300 lumens of output and excellent run times, while still being small and compact enough to be easily portable for everyday carry. I particularly like that this light has several features that make it friendly for tactical users, like the strike bezel on the front and being able to configure the tail cap for the turbo and strobe mode default, but then also the everyday carry user who might want to have the proximity sensor to make sure they're not burning their clothing, and to have the tail cap configurable to the medium and turbo modes instead of being defaulted to strobe. So this is a very versatile light, and I really like that some of the functionality is customizable to your particular use case scenario. So if you're looking for a primary EDC carry light, I would look no further than the Olight Warrior 3S. I hope you found this video review helpful. If you did, make sure to hit that like button below. It helps the channel out a lot. And don't forget to subscribe and hit the bell icon so you're the first to be notified when I release new videos just like this one. Cheers!